Please welcome Gino Flori, Vice President of Custom Network Implementation at Lumen, along with his guest for today's Fireside Chat, Stephen Timms.
Can't see anybody. Yeah, that's perfect.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. Thank you guys for staying. I was talking backstage and I said the folks that have stayed to listen to this are really excited to hear from us, or their kids are and family are at Disney and they'd rather be here than there. So appreciate you guys hanging out with us for a few minutes. Real quickly, thank you, my partner, Stephen, for coming today. What I'd like to do first is kind of set the stage up with a little bit of the Lumen story. And if you're not familiar with it, a few years ago, Lumen was struggling a little bit, or a lot of bit, depends on who you ask. And they changed leadership and started to get more focused on what they wanted to be. And through that transformation, they decided to recently get out of the fiber to the home business, strictly focus on enterprise, and then be in that trusted network for AI and building the backbone for AI. So in my role with Lumen, that's what I'm focused on. We have partnerships with hyperscalers and partnerships with suppliers to help us extend that AI, that network reach. I work on the long-haul network. Very blessed that through acquisitions over the years that Lumen has been able to grow that path and that footprint across the country. So we have the opportunity to get our long-haul network and get that data traffic carried from East Coast to West Coast, North and South. So we're really blessed in that regard. We've decided to, of course, our strategic approach is to, and I heard some of the speakers talking about this earlier, is we want to build that generational network that's ready for what's to come. Not just what's for today, but what's to come. And so that's our strategic vision. We're investing in it over the next 3 years. It's roughly $2.6 billion of investment in infrastructure growth. And by the end of 2028, we'll have 47 million miles of connectivity inventory on our fiber network. That's a lot of glass. But it's a very exciting time at Lumen. And but we can't do it alone. We need partners. And Stephen here with Thermabond is a great partner for us. And you talk about the fiber, and that's the glass, the fancy, fiber. But the fiber can't do it alone either. It needs inline amplifiers, and Thermabond builds those for us, and they've had to scale up and grow. So I thought it would be good to hear about Thermabond and their story. So Stephen, first off, why don't you tell us a little bit about Thermabond?
Yeah, great. Thanks everybody for sticking around for this. So we have been around for 37 years, which most people don't realize. We're out of South Dakota. We through Lumen's partnership and our relationship together, we had 150 employees as part of our company a year and a half ago, and we have over 700 now. We've scaled very quick to support kind of Lumen's growth and push to fiber. And essentially what we do is we make concrete, resilient, critical duty shelters that can be deployable in any state in the US with Lumen. And we do the fiber huts. And so we're essentially a mini micro data center producer, we're finding out. But we've been producing under cell towers, cell signal, and then we got pushed into the fiber space with Lumen. And every 55 miles of a fiber run needs one or two of our huts. And so last year we shipped over 1,000 buildings to 49 states in the US as part of our relationship with Lumen. And it's really starting to kind of pick up in a good way. And we're finding, as this conference talks through, the AI and the learning models, we're a very strong solution for AI inference, right? We're close to the edge. And there's some photos later we'll get to that show what our buildings look like. They're subtle, they're hidden, they're concrete. And they're kind of out of sight, out of mind, but they're literally running America's critical networks every day. And that's what we're happy to be here with you, Gino.
Yeah. So you spoke about the growth, and I've been to your plant and toured it, and I've been to your communities. They're small communities, and so you're a major employer in the area. So what has this AI boom meant for the folks in your communities where you live?
So ironically, AI can sort of had a bad tone to it, right? And data centers and things. And the state and our communities view us as a very positive force in that space because we're smaller, we're modular, we're better on the environment, right? We're quicker to deploy. And so we've added a lot of jobs to South Dakota. We also have a location in Indiana. And it's funny, the plant that you guys were at, we've added 2 more plants in the last 6 months, just as a result of the growth that we're seeing. And so we're bringing new jobs into rural South Dakota, rural America. We're right in the heart of the US. And that's good for us because we ship to every state, right? And so we're right in the middle. People ask, why are you from South Dakota? Well, many reasons. That's where my parents are from. But also, it's very strategic in how we can ship logistically. These buildings are 80 to 100,000 pounds.
Yeah. So, as you've had to scale, and I've been through some of this with you and some of the growth, but can you talk about some of the challenges that you've had? Because I know you have a very demanding customer. He's pretty understanding, but we're demanding, our customers are demanding, right? Everything is get it to us quicker. How can you accelerate? Going through that and growing the company as you had and scale up, what are some of the challenges that you guys ran into and that you've worked to overcome, or things that you've seen that you've had to change or call an audible?
Yeah, so culture's the biggest thing for us, right? And that's been the hardest to maintain as we've grown this quick. And we call it one team, one bond, one goal. That's the Thermabond vision. And that's what we tell our employees, our staff that we hire. The other one that we say is it's always 70 degrees in Thermabond because we hire a lot of trades, right? So from electricians, in one of our facilities alone, we have over 40 electricians. Well, they can work in a temperature-controlled environment, building modular data centers without having to travel around the world, or depending on where the next hyperscaler's going, they can do that, in the confines of their home, go to their kids' basketball games that night, et cetera. So we've been really intentional, but we've had to grow so fast that, again, it takes time to kind of get the team to see the vision. And I've been at Thermabond for 11 months, and within the first month, I already wasn't the new person, right? So,
yeah. I was just thinking about that and the growth in your community, and one of the stats that I looked at that I thought was amazing, and how the whole AI boom has impacted the economy. We are working with our partners. We have about 500 partners involved in this network enhancement, and 12,000 skilled labor jobs that are helping us build this network. 4,000 Lumen employees all involved in it, in a small community. That scale up is so large for that community. I imagine you're probably one of the largest employers in the area. Yeah, so it's amazing. It's an amazing plant. I can understand the 70 degrees. It would be just the opposite of Florida. You like it cool,
Bless you.
And then 70 degrees is pretty balmy where you're at, I guess. So as you look forward to the future, and you heard conversations about the edge and all that stuff, so we're on the long haul. Where do you see Thermabond going in the future as far as impact to your company, and how do you envision the growth and the future opportunities that AI can create?
Sure. Yeah, it's a great segue. I mean, we're helping obviously lay the fiber routes with Lumen and others, and the next natural stage is AI edge and edge inference models. And our solutions, they're very purpose-built because they're private, they're secure, right? They're sovereign. And so we have a lot of people extremely interested right now because you can get a 200 kilowatt data center from us anywhere in the US, and it can be housed in a critical duty concrete structure. It's hurricane resistant, tornado resistant, bulletproof, ironically, but it's got a lot of unique adds. And we are seeing, and we're getting kind of pulled, just like we went from the cell industry into the fiber industry with Lumen, we're kind of getting pulled into this AI edge inference model because people love this solution for that just case. And so they look at this concept of large data centers and hyperscalers, which are all critical and all needed. What we offer is a subtle alternative that's more of a campus concept. So you can have groves of these. You can have multiple units that could be separate, and companies could have their information siloed and not shared multi-tenant inferences. And that's been kind of where this is going with us, Gino.
Did you want to show?
Yeah, I think I got a photo
I think you have
on a slide deck to show.
A slide that'll show that.
So this is a good example of a campus. And so when you look at an alternative to a hyperscaler or to a large data center, our angle is rural America, right? And we want to go after power that's readily available with substations all over the U.S. that is not in urban areas, right? It's in spots that people really aren't worried about, and it's in land that's maybe undesirable for a business. Well, that's perfect for this solution, right? We can get land, we have power, we have fiber connectivity through Lumen's relationship, and what we can do is we can deploy these campuses. This photo here is a 10 megawatt campus that within 30 to 60 days, our first buildings are shipping to this campus. So you're able to get and use that AI model or whatever use case you have for your business right away, and then we can stagger shipments to be able to kind of grow with you, right? As your business scales, as you need more compute, we're able to help you do that together. And this has been, ironically, it's like we do a lot of these buildings for you guys, right?
Right.
And putting these buildings together as part of a data campus is what's kind of starting to blow up for us.
That's interesting, and as you were going through that, and I'm looking at this picture, I'm thinking about how, you talked about the weight of these shelters, yep. And it's no small feat to deliver them and set them on site. Can you talk a little bit about the things that Thermabond is doing, whether it's working with Lumen or others, on reducing that waste, that cost to ship, that difficult install that takes place because of the equipment that's needed? Are there things that you're working on to make that more efficient and still maintain that security and those standards that Lumen and others have?
Yeah, and it's a great question, and this is kind of where the partnership really works well in both of our favor, right? So Lumen owns the land or has the land across all of the U.S. for where they want to put these locations. What we do is provide the building. Well, we don't just ship a building, we ship a building with a full solution in it. And so we put all the necessary products that we've got to compile this building together, to join it with another facility, to get it set up on site. We put all of that in there for Lumen inside the shelters so that when it gets to the site, there's a crane crew there. These are 100,000-pound buildings. Like it's an art to install these properly, but I call them semi-permanent, right? Because they can be moved and moved later, but once they're set, you can kind of set and forget, right? And they're running, again, the majority of the network online. So we have calls weekly with Lumen's leadership team and our group from project management, from site deployments, from readiness assessments, and it's a very good collaboration for our business, and we've really appreciated you guys.
Yeah, the hyperscaler demand is so great right now, and we forecast it to continue to grow, but the rack space that they need is incredible, and so the demand for these shelters and getting them out quickly as you can to us as we're trying to see who's going to get there first, the fiber or the shelter, and try to match that up. Yeah. But it is a race. I think that, like you said, that partnership is there for us to continue to grow together, to continue to innovate what we do. And I view Thermabond as, not just a vendor supplier, but a true partner in this. And I really do appreciate you coming all the way over here today to share a little bit about this. And you talked about how the factory and you're preloading these buildings. So we're not getting an empty shelter on site and then building it on the site. So their process is pretty awesome that you have.
Yeah, it's fully integrated, right? And we design basically a modular
station to station. You can walk through that plant, eat off the floor if you needed to, but kind of walk through a little bit of that because I think it's pretty interesting on what you guys have set up there.
So I didn't appreciate how much dynamic load waiting with concrete shelters and how important that is to our design. But it's a very 30-year plus proven design that we have for our concrete shelter. So it starts with concrete. So we're building essentially a basement on wheels, right? That can be shipped all over the US. So there's an art to the science behind how we design a building itself to be able to be shipped. Because we ship these to like Utah for you guys or Nevada, and they're going up hills. Well, concrete is meant to do one thing, and that's crack. And our solution is meant to kind of help get ahead of that. So once the concrete shelter is established, what we do is we put full rack trains, power, electrical, fire suppression systems, telemetry units, whatever else Lumen needs, we put in the factory. And so when it gets to their site, they're prepared, and it's just kind of turnkey. And we kind of, we do a handoff and a handshake, and then it's Lumen's building at that point. And we want to put as much of the work as we possibly can in the factory. And that way we have better quality control. We can manage the whole process much cleaner and smoother, so it's consistent. And again, we shipped over 1,000 of these last year for you guys.
Yeah, and one of the things that comes to mind as I sit here and think about the growth that we've had together, it can be a simple thing, like the loose ship items. And making sure that they get to the site. And so how we package the loose ship items, so the construction teams can basically don't have to go through everything to find what they need, the first things that they need when a shelter shows up. They're consistent in what they need every time. So that communication back and forth has been great, and it's evolved the whole process. And the fact that Thermabond is actually out there in the field listening to our teams is really appreciated. And so I wanted to just close by saying thank you for the partnership. We rely on our partners, as I said, 500 plus partners helping us do this. But finding the right partners for us has been critical to our success, and I appreciate it and look forward to more success in the future. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We've come a long